Hi, and welcome to the Future of Development podcast. My name's Anthony Amunategui, and I'm here to inspire people to find amazing careers in the construction development world. If you like our podcast, please make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really like our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Future of Development podcast with Anthony Amunategui. Today we have a great guest, Dan Wisk. Dan is an iconic figure in the development world. He's developed over 30 million square feet throughout the country with iconic brands like Boston Market, 24 Hour Fitness, Kohl's, just to say a few of them. Dan's background brings a plethora of knowledge from lead generation, environmentally sound buildings, to today's modern development. He's currently working on a grocery brand that is another iconic brand. Dan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Great to be here, Anthony.
Awesome. You and I have been friends for many, many moons, and starting our careers back in the old Boston Market days. And we have watched the evolution of this business go from what it was back in the day, where we were begging people to have fax machines on a job site, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Get a contractor to put a fax machine out there was like, we had to pull teeth to do that.
Even going back even further than that, in my first job in this industry, we didn't even have laptops. And the only person that had access to the fax machine was one of the admins in the office, and she had the only computer. And we did everything by fax, snail mail, and phone calls. So yeah, it's I know a lot of people find that hard to believe that somebody from that era is still alive, but it's a fact.
When I tell my kids about that, or they make it look like we were building, and Jesus might have been with us when we did so. They look at us and go, "Wow, that just seems so far. Did you guys build the Coliseum?" I'm like, well, we've been around.
Well, we came in for a renovation. We didn't build the original structure.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you get into construction? What is your path that got you into it? What made you want to be a construction guy?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to some people anyway. My dad was an engineer, and he was always building stuff around the house. In terms of literally, he bought a house in the suburbs many years ago, and he built the garage to go onto the house. He finished the basement, did all that kind of stuff, and I was always there kind of helping him with that. And I always developed that interest early on. It was just fun for me. It was fulfilling to, put some work into something and see it come out of the ground, come together, and be a structure or an improvement of an existing structure or whatever. So that really kind of piqued my interest early on. And then after that, I moved back up to the Chicago area and went to work for Boston Market, which is where we met. So
that's right.
I think back then Boston Market had one chicken. So it was a smaller operation, but again, great folks and a great camaraderie and a great experience. It was a situation where we would take down the dirt, we would self-develop, we would put the restaurant up, and then we would do a sale leaseback to somebody like a GE Capital or somebody like that, and that was the model. So we just kept building, and just went from there.
That was record pace, right? But back then, nobody was building that fast. It was record speed. We, find dirt, get a real estate deal done, build those things out. Every single day at that point was it made all the difference in the world. And the career has taken you to multiple places throughout the country, right? And as you work your way up, the thing I hear the most about people who've been successful is exactly what you were talking about. That piece of I got in the business, and my first job gave me an opportunity, but then I earned my way up that ladder, right?
Yep.
Doing whatever it took to get the odd part of the job. If someone needed something in the company, if it was managing a warehouse or managing a project or doing files or whatever that took, that piece of going above and beyond.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, that one position would lead to the next, but I think the thing that can't be overemphasized, that's really, really important, is we got the opportunity throughout my career, and you did the same to work with other people that were, in my case, way smarter than me, that had a ton of experience, that were subject matter experts. And these are people that were very willing to share their experience and their knowledge and mentor us along our development of our careers, which is critical. So if you are willing to put in the work, if you're willing to learn from others, and you're fortunate enough to be in a situation where you're matched up with people that have great background and expertise, and they're willing to share with you, that's where the real knowledge is created. That's where the expertise is developed. Because, we can go to school, we can take classes, we can do all of that, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Those are great things to do. But at the end of the day, I think most people will tell you that what they learned in school was a good foundation, but when they got out to the real world and discovered what was actually going on, that was taking that education to the next level.
Having a relationship with a mentor that can go, yeah, you're doing it right there. Hey, that's great. No, that's not so great. Let's work on this one over here. Having that feedback loop. I think a lot of times people get, nowadays they want to go right to the top and be the boss at something. And
yep.
Having that piece where you earned your way up, and like you said, the spots where I made the biggest mistakes, I missed a decision. I didn't think through something. I certainly looked through the projects I've managed, and makes me a much better developer today as I look at the bad decisions I made, or something I was just off on. I didn't pay enough attention to a utility service. I didn't pay enough attention to the real estate deal. I didn't pay enough attention to the hunting season, right?
Yeah, exactly.
First time you miss a turnover because all the subs went hunting. You might look at your schedule just a little bit different. There's some value to that.
Yeah, the thing that really has kept me engaged, I think, is the fact that no 2 days are ever the same.
Right.
So what we do, is about consistency and repetition, of course, because you want to continue to deliver the facilities on a very predictable budget and schedule and be dependable and all that. But what you find is the challenges that are associated with each project change from project to project. And that keeps you mentally stimulated. It's part of what keeps you engaged. And it's not just the problems that come up with each individual project, and there will always be problems. It's the different personalities that you have to learn to deal with, whether it is an architect, an engineer, a building department official, planning and zoning official, community groups who may not be in support of your project. I mean, there's all kinds of things that come up along the entire development process that will challenge you, that will challenge your problem-solving abilities, your analytical skills, and really kind of make or break you. You will learn that the skill that you acquired on a project 2, 3, 4 years ago may not be directly applicable to the current problem you're facing, but the process you went through to solve that problem 4 or 5 years ago will hopefully guide you through the problem-solving process now.
Are you noticing that your design changes are, we were out looking at a brand on the East Coast that it's a same thing, a grocery brand that's out there picking up as many of them as they can get at a time, second generation locations. It's all adaptable. The days of trench drains and underground, gone. These guys everything's pumped, putting all their refrigerated gondolas in, pump system, taking stuff out. They can move in to a space in under 10 weeks from a second generation space, and that conversion, maybe besides permitting and health department, all that stuff that goes with that and ordering. They've been able to site adapt these projects much faster.
Yeah, that's really the thing. Speed to market obviously has always been important. The quicker you open the doors and start ringing the register, obviously the more profitable the organization will be, and the better the model works, obviously. But yeah, having a kit of parts when you look at your prototype design and say, and you'll have prioritized lists of things that you can either downsize or eliminate from your prototype. So that says, my prototype is 10,000 square feet, but I've got an 8,000 square foot box here. I can reduce, if it's a restaurant, I can reduce the size of the dining area. and I can take 10 seats out or 15 seats out, or I can reduce the size of my walk-in, or whatever it's going to be. You figure out ahead of time, what you're going to sacrifice, if you will, in order to make your prototype fit in a particular size box.
As you're looking at your new retail locations, how's it changing with these third-party delivery companies, ordering online, picking up at curbside?
Yeah, I think, not so much for the company I'm currently with, because we don't have a big online presence, which is shocking to a lot of people. We have a website, obviously, and whatever, but we are in the grocery world. The Wall Street Journal a couple months ago called us the TJ Maxx of the grocery world, and that we're really focused on extreme value opportunity buys. And so, we can't put an app out there that says, here's everything you're going to find in the store, 2 blocks down the street today, because it's going to be different in every store. And so it makes us pretty unique. And, I guess the hook, if you will, for us is that, we are a treasure hunt kind of mentality, which is, again, what TJ Maxx is. You never know what you're going to find in the store, but you're going to find some great deals. And that's really kind of what we do as well.
That's one of my favorite parts about going to stores like that. You come around the corner, you're like, right. I mean, today with social distancing, eating at home more often, you get bored. I want to walk in a store and find something unique to bring home to the family, a new vegetable, a new fruit.
I think it's especially timely. I mean, obviously, unfortunately during COVID, all the grocery stores have done well, because people aren't going out to dine as much as they used to. People are preparing meals at home because we're all kind of homebound right now. But what happens is the COVID pandemic has really, unfortunately, displaced people from their jobs in a lot of cases. It's made people focus on value, and so a concept like ours, or like TJ Maxx, or the other off-price retailers, they're just really resonating with the consumer right now. And what we found, after previous downturns, like the real estate crash in 08, 09, it drove people to the value retailers. And what's happened, I think, in a lot of cases, those value retailers have retained the majority of those customers.
What are you guys doing different to build today? We went through LEED, right? I remember years of being driven by LEED certification. Now, like on the construction side, safety was a big deal. And now it's finally actually kicked in. And it's not like a big deal because it's just what you do, right? There's no more like, it's a special thing. It's just, you're kind of expected. Everybody wears PPE. Everybody walks
Absolutely.
Job safety. Safety meetings during the day. It's just a normal course of business. And the kind of uniqueness of that, that was a big deal back, when I got into this. It became a bigger deal over the last 10 years. But now it's like something that we just expect to do. People expect to have that in there. What are the changes have you seen that have become that way for you guys as a group?
Yeah, you mentioned LEED, which is interesting. I think the thing with LEED, and again, this is just my personal perspective. I think the concepts of LEED resonate with the people in the U.S. and the consumers, but I don't know that if you ask the average shopper out there, is it important to you that this grocery store is LEED certified or silver or gold or whatever? I don't think they would really care too much about that. I think if you say we have implemented some high efficiency solutions so that we consume less electricity, we consume less natural gas, where we have a more aware carbon footprint, and we're doing things to improve the environment, that resonates with people because it's something they can relate to. And so I think that, the whole USGBC LEED program was a great thing to do. I think they're going to continue, and I've seen them continue to evolve and change. And I see fewer design professionals and construction professionals actively pursuing added certifications from LEED. That's just, again, a casual observation on my part. I don't think what they're doing is any less important. I think it's a great thing. And you know, when I was at Kohl's, LEED certification was, we were the first company to get volume certification of our prototype. And so we built literally hundreds of LEED certified department stores. And we put the, you know, the stickers on the windows and the plaques in the stores and everything else. We had a big solar program, which was great. I think it was all the right thing to do. But unless I think the company is going to make a big deal about it in terms of promoting it, raising levels of consumer awareness, and really, you know, trying to make that a point of differentiation, I'm seeing less and less of that as a defining factor, if you will, in the development world. I think, again, the concepts of being sustainable and reducing the waste stream on a construction site, things like that, those are all great things to do. And whether or not there's a LEED program or not, we'll continue to do that because it's the right thing to do, and it actually is a cost-effective thing to do. There are financial benefits to that. So, you know, I think those are a couple of the trends that we'll probably see continue through the year. It'll be interesting to see how USGBC continues to evolve and change to keep up with consumers and what the commercial real estate world is looking for.
You know, and I think to your point, a lot of stuff that it kind of got forced into what we thought was going to be, you know, a radical difference and differentiating factor, you know, really brought awareness to it, right? Mm-hmm. Back then, it brought awareness to it. And today it's become part of our standard operating procedure, right? If we can build a more energy efficient building, a more, you know, a better, we as development people are carrying that stick without a need to profess it, but it's become part of our practice. Smarter buildings, safer job sites, the things that we're doing to make it, you know, it's becoming part of our you know, our normal operating procedure. Now, where do you see the future of, you know, for most of my career, we've made some changes, but I look at the forms and the processes that we do today, and 30 years ago, they're very similar. You know, there are some things that are changed, but you know, our business has always been a lagger in the evolution of it. And I'm just now starting to notice that technology is catching up to our field. Where are you seeing? Where do you see the future? What do you think as you're looking forward? Any insight as to where we're going with technology in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think if I had the answer to that, then, you know, I would be sitting on the beach in Maui right now, and I wouldn't be looking to continue to work. But I think there, you know, some of the obvious things are, you know, obviously mobile enabled technology for project management, job site management has become pretty standard. I think that's going to continue to evolve. You know, the cloud-based software platforms for managing projects, not just the, you know, the schedule and the budget, but all the document storage and the process management and everything else is just becoming more and more widely adapted throughout the industry. Everybody has some version of that. And so I think, you know, that will continue to be leveraged. But I think the other, I guess, opportunities out there are how do we manage the process more and more virtually, as opposed to having a owner's rep project manager on site, you know, every 2 weeks to see how things are going. So, you know, there's a lot of, again, cloud-based job site cameras and, you know, other ways to manage a project remotely. Drones obviously have made a big impact in the last 5 to 10 years. And those types of things are important, but I still think they give you the way they're currently employed, they give you a limited view of what's happening on the job site. You know, the camera only shows you where it's aimed, you know, so if you have the ability to do remote pan tilt zoom cameras, you know, those are becoming more of the standard at this point, as opposed to a static camera. And making sure that, you know, you are partnering with companies, whether it's contractors or architects and engineers, you know, that are technology enabled as well, I think is obviously a critical component of that. So I think the other thing that has been a big plus for the industry is really Revit, making sure that, before we get to the actual construction phase, we've done all the conflict resolution between lighting and plumbing and HVAC and everything else in that Revit model. Hopefully eliminates a lot of the job site calls that an owner's rep in the past would have to make when they do their typical site visits. Currently we're using Revit and we're not using it just for making sure that we have no conflicts between our MEP systems, but we're also using it to make sure that our MEP systems don't have conflicts with our wall graphics, things like that. So we're trying to be very holistic about how we employ this and make sure that when we walk into that store after it's grand open, that it looks exactly like we thought it was going to look from the Revit modeling, and that there are no surprises.
And I am so grateful to have spent time with you today. Anytime I'm around wisdom, and you are wisdom for me, you bring such a wealth of knowledge to this industry. I've benefited my career by being around you and the knowledge that you bring to it, the way that you look at it, your formulas for looking at it. It's been wonderful. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best place to get a hold of you?
The best place to get a hold of me is follow me on LinkedIn. I have gotten rid of all the rest of the social media. It's too mentally taxing for me. LinkedIn is really kind of where I make those professional connections and stay in touch. And I follow some other companies on LinkedIn that really are people that are embracing technology, people that are looking to make change for the better, and that are just not stuck in the old mold. So that's, I think, probably my best advice and best way to get a hold of me.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it, and we look forward to having you again somewhere in the future as a guest again. Thanks for joining us.
Anthony, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun as always, and stay healthy and stay covered.
Thanks. All right. Thanks for joining us. My name is Anthony Amunategui, always looking for people to bring insight into the industry, finding ways to inspire people to have amazing careers in the development world. If you liked our podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really liked our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. Thanks again for listening. Please share it with your friends.